And we are live.
Hi, everybody. I just got the word that we're live. Welcome to Virtual Irondale and part three of our reissued, vitalized 1599 saga. We've had two kind of, we say, more serious dramas, and tonight, as Shakespeare himself said, we're offering a play called As You Like It, because in 1599 people complained a bit and said, Bill, you're getting very heavy here. We need something to cheer us up and alter our moods. So Shakespeare wrote this, and then because he may have been a bit peeved, he said, all right, now I'm going to give you Hamlet. You want to see chaos? I'm going to give you Hamlet. So I'm sitting here right now as we're going into the show with Katie Wieland, who is playing Rosalind for the second time. And what I'm really curious about, because one of the prime rules of Irondale is we always are looking for what is the most important play that we can do at this particular moment in time. And, there's two parts to that, important and that we can do. And I think that this play really fits the bill, probably differently than it did when we did it several years ago. But I'm going to turn this over to Katie and just say, Katie, how has it changed for you? What do you see now that's different or that's perked your interest?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main difference is this, kind of forced lifestyle change that we're all
Hmm.
going through. Um, on previous productions of working on this, that's always discussed, but, the majority of the play takes place in this beautiful, fun, vibrant forest. And, it's easy to forget that that was a forced lifestyle change. And now that we're all kind of, forced to stay inside a lot, it really kind of highlights the the toll that that can take and the different ways of handling it. I think that this play also has both of those things. There's that, you can really, some people really go inward and can, start philosophizing and really sit in that, in the despair of it.
Uh-huh.
And it also provides an opportunity for you to find new ways of being with each other and new ways of creating new societies, which this play, it is always kind of bubbling under the surface. All of these kind of very serious, very um, big concepts are all there the whole time as everyone's kind of playing above them. So that's definitely been something that in action versus
Yeah.
action.
Just, kind of a maybe more of a technical question, but watching you work on this, and I mean, every day it's such a joy because you keep coming up with all these new choices and everything. And I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it at all. But how much of this is sort of just emerging because you've had all this time to cook with the play, or how much are you running home at night and standing in front of the mirror and saying, "Oh, if I do that, that's going to do
Oh
something."
gosh. Well, before I even did it with 1599, I've played this role twice before as well.
Uh huh.
And it's such a big one. And so I kind of, there's so much to still discover.
Yeah.
And but since I know the text really well and I know the storyline, I get to just kind of not think about that part of it, and I get to ruminate on all the other stuff that does make it relevant today and does make it um and just
Yeah.
personally for
Yeah.
me today, if I'm like, oh, this is a funnier line than I thought it was, or this is a you know so it is kind of, it allows me to kind of be in the
That's
moment.
I'm so enjoying your sense of discovery, as you're going through with these things. And as far as the text, I think you've reached that level, and I just want to compliment you on this, where it ceases to be text.
Oh, thank you.
That it's like this is exactly what you were thinking. Any sense of, moving from contemporary speech to Elizabethan has, for me, completely gone away. And I think that's really true running through the company. But you're the captain of the ship, and you're really leading us along here.
Thank
So
you.
how about on that high note, we kind of move into actually going through our version of the play here.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, and just before, we will be back afterwards just to, for all of us to chat about the play and, what we got out of it going back to it. And you're all welcome to stick around with us. And I wish we had a way that we could actually just get your voices coming in, which we can't do. But we will keep the YouTube chat open so that any pressing questions or comments or not so pressing that you want to pass on to us, please do, because we're always looking to know what you're thinking about it too. All right. So have a good time, everybody. And I'm going to mute and stop my video so I don't jump into the screen when I get so excited.
Thank you,
Okay.
Jim.
Have a great time, everybody.
Thank you. And this is part 3 of 1599, As You Like It.
During that time, the time that France was divided into provinces, there reigned in one of these provinces a law and order usurper who had deposed and banished his elder brother, the lawful Duke Senior.
The Duke, who was thus driven from his home, retired with a few faithful followers to the forest of Arden, and here he lived with his loving friends who had put themselves into voluntary exile for his sake, while their land and income enriched the false usurper. Here they lived like the old Robin Hood of England, and to this forest many nobles and youths daily left the court to join him and the other exiles.
The banished Duke had an only daughter named Rosalind, whom the usurper, Duke Frederick, when he banished her father, still retained in his court as a companion for his own daughter, Celia. A strong friendship subsisted between the two women, which the disagreement between their fathers did not in the least interrupt.
Celia devoted her whole life and every bit of kindness in her power to making amends to Rosalind for the injustice caused by her own father and...
Whenever the thoughts of her father's banishment and her own dependence on the false usurper made Rosalind melancholy,
Celia thought only to comfort and console her.
Eleanor Rigby died in a church and was buried along with her name. Nobody cared.
I pray thee, Rosalind, sweet my coz, be merry.
Dear Celia, I show more mirth than I am mistress of, unless you could teach me to forget a banished father.
You know my father hath no child but I, nor none is like to have, and truly, when he dies, thou shalt be his heir. For everything he hath taken away from thy father perforce, I will render thee again in affection. Truly, I will, and when I break that oath, let me turn monster. And therefore, my sweet Rose, my dear Rose, be merry.
What shall be our sport then?
A messenger enters from the Duke. Mistress, you must come away to your father.
Were you made the messenger?
No, by mine honor, but I was bid to come for you.
What's the news?
Well, I will tell you the beginning, and if it please your ladyships, you may see the end. For they are coming to perform it.
Distancing here. How now, daughter and cousin, are you crept hither to see the wrestling?
To clarify from the dramaturgical perspective, and to put this into context for now, in those times, wrestling, which is only practiced now by country clowns, was a favorite sport, even in the courts of princes and before fair ladies and princesses.
Aye, my liege. So please you give us leave.
You will take little delight in it, I can tell you. There is such odds in the man. In pity of the challenger's youth, I would fain dissuade him, but he will not be entreated. Speak to him, ladies. See if you can move him.
Young man, what is your name?
Orlando.
Orlando was the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys, who, when he died, left him...
Orlando being then very young.
To the care of his eldest brother, Oliver.
Who greatly resembled Orlando.
Greatly, charging Oliver on his blessing to give his brother a good education and provide for him as became the dignity of their ancient house.
Oliver proved an unworthy brother, and disregarding the commands of their dying father, he never put his brother to school, but kept him home untaught and entirely neglected. But in his nature and in noble qualities of his mind, Orlando so resembled his excellent father that without any advantages of education, he seemed like a youth who had been bred in the utmost care.
Magnificent. Would anyone like any coffee? No? Yes? Good. Proceed.
Have you come to challenge Charles the wrestler?
I have.
Young gentlemen, your spirits are too bold for your years.
We will make it our suit to the Duke that the wrestling might not go forward.
I beseech you, let your fair eyes and gentle wishes go with me to my trial, wherein, if I be foiled, there is but one shamed that was never gracious, if killed, but one dead that would be willing to be so. I shall do my friends no wrong, for I have none to lament me. The world no injury, for in it I have nothing. Only in the world I fill up a place, which may be better supplied when I have made it empty.
The little strength that I have, I would it were with you.
Let's go. Let's get this match going. You shall try but one fall.
Ding ding! They wrestle! They grumble. Sound effects. Oh, it's a reversal! Oh, it's an arm grab! Oh, blood! Chokehold! Suplex! Whoa! Oh,
Charles is thrown.
Orlando wins! Woo!
No more. Bear him away. What is your name, young man?
Orlando, my liege, the youngest son of Sir Roland de Boys.
I would thou hadst been son to some man else. The world esteemed thy father honorable, but I did find him still mine enemy. Fare thee well. Thou art a gallant youth. I would thou hadst told me of another father. It's very sad. Very sad.
My father loved Sir Roland as his soul.
Let us go thank and encourage him.
Wear this for me. One out of suits with fortune that could give more, but that her hand lacks means. Shall we go, cuz?
Aye. Fare you well.
into LeBeau. Good sir. Your wicked brother, envying the love all people bear you, and now hearing the fame you have gained by your victory in the Duke's palace, intends to destroy you by setting fire to your chamber this night. I do, in friendship, counsel you to leave this place.
What? I thank you, sir, and pray you, tell me this. Which of the two was daughter of the Duke that here was at the wrestling?
Oh, but yet, indeed, the shorter is his daughter. The other is daughter to the banished duke, and here detained by her usurping uncle to keep his daughter company. Of late this duke hath ta'en displeasure against his gentle niece, grounded upon no other argument but that the people praise her for her virtues and pity her for her good father's sake. And on my life, his malice against this lady will suddenly break forth. Hereafter, in a better world than this, I shall desire more love and knowledge of you. Eh?
I rest much bounden to you. Fare you well. Thus must I from smoke into smother, from tyrant duke unto tyrant brother. Oh, but heavenly Rosalind!
A room in the palace. Is it possible on such a sudden you should fall into so strong a liking with the old Sir Roland's youngest son?
The Duke, my father, loved his father dearly.
Does it therefore ensure you should love his son dearly?
Enter, Duke Frederick and lords. Mistress, dispatch you with your safest haste and get you from our court.
Me, uncle?
You, cousin, within these 10 days, if thou beest found so near our public court as 20 miles, thou diest for it.
I do beseech your grace. Have the music. Let me the knowledge of my fault bear with me. Never so much as in a thought unborn did I offend your highness.
Let it suffice thee that I trust thee not.
Yet your mistrust cannot make me a traitor.
Thou art thy father's daughter, there's enough.
So was I when your highness took his dukedom. So was I when your highness banished him. Treason is not inherited, my lord. Or if we did derive it from our friends, what's that to me? My father was no traitor.
Dear sovereign, hear me speak.
She is too subtle for thee, and her smoothness, her very silence, and her patience speak to the people, and they pity her. Thou art a fool. She robs thee of thy name, and thou wilt show more bright and seem more virtuous when she is gone.
I don't think you're...
Not thy lips. Firm and irrevocable is the doom which I have passed upon her. She is banished.
Pronounce that sentence then on me, my liege. I cannot live out of her company.
You are a fool. You, niece, provide yourself. If you outstay the time, upon mine honor, and in the greatness of my word, and I have all the greatest words, you die.
Oh, my poor Rosalind. Whither wilt thou go? Be thou not more grieved than I am.
I have more cause.
Knowest thou not? The Duke hath banished me, his daughter.
That he hath not.
No, hath not. Rosalind lacks the love that teaches thee that thou and I am one. No, let my father seek another heir. Say what thou canst. I'll go along with thee.
Why, whither shall we go?
To seek my uncle in the forest of Arden.
Alas, what danger will it be to us, maids as we are, to travel forth so far?
I'll put me in poor and mean attire, the like do you, and so shall we pass along and never stir assailants.
Were it not better, because that I am more than common tall, that I did suit me all points like a man?
What shall I call thee when thou art a man?
I'll have no worse a name than Jove's own page. Therefore, look, you call me Ganymede. But what will you be called?
Something that hath reference to my state. No longer Celia, but
Aliena?
Aliena!
Aliena. But cousin, what if we essayed to steal the clownish fool out of your father's court? Oh, would he not be a comfort to our travels?
He'll go o'er the whole wide world with me. Let's away. Now go we in content to liberty, and not to banishment. They exit.
Senior and
2 or 3 lords, like foresters.
now, my co-mates and brothers in exile, hath not old custom made this life more sweet than that of painted pomp? Are not these woods more free from peril than the envious court? Sweet are the uses of adversity, and this, our life, exempt from the public haunt, finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything.
I would not change it.
Come, shall we go kill us venison?
For bear?
Ah,
No more.
why, I have eat none yet.
Nor shalt not till necessity be served. He dies that touches any of this food until I and my affairs are answered.
And you will not be answered with reason? I must die.
What would you have? Your gentleness shall force more than your force move us to gentleness.
I almost die for food, and let me have it.
Sit down and feed, and welcome to our table.
Speak you so gently? Pardon me, I pray you. I thought that all things had been savage here, and therefore put I on the countenance of stern commandment. But whate'er you are, I thank ye, and be blessed for your good comfort.
Thou seest we are not all alone unhappy. This wide and universal theater presents more woeful pageants than the scene wherein we play in.
All the world's a stage.
One of my very favorite arias.
Oh, dear Lord.
Jacques,
Yes.
do it today, please.
I shall do it, my lord. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant mewling and puking in his nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school, and then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow, then a soldier, full of strange oaths, and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly and good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again toward childish trouble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. I'll go sleep, if I can. If I cannot, I'll rail against all the firstborn of Egypt.
That gallant hither, and I'll make him find him. Do this suddenly, and let not search nor inquisition quail to bring again these foolish runaways.
The forest.
Enter Rosalind as Ganymede.
Celia as Aliena.
And Touchstone.
Well, this is the forest of Arden.
Now I am in Arden.
But in Arden, they no longer found the convenient inns and country club accommodations they had met along their journey.
Yes, indeed, I am in Arden. The more fool I. When I was at home, I was in a much better place. But travelers must be content.
I be so good, Touchstone.
Enter Corin.
Look you, who comes here?
Holla, you, clown.
Peace, you fool, he's not thy kinsman.
Shh.
Peace, I say.
Right.
Good even to you, friend. I prithee, shepherd, if that love or gold can in this desert place buy entertainment, bring us to where we may rest ourselves and feed. Here is a young maid with travel much oppressed, and begging for succor.
Oh,
my fair sir, I wish my fortunes were more able to relieve her, but I am shepherd to another man. His coat, his flocks, and bounds of feed are now on sale, and at our sheepcote now, by reason of his absence, there is nothing that you will feed on. But what he is, come see.
I pray thee, if it stand with honesty, buy thou the cottage, pasture, and the flock, and thou shalt have to pay for it of us.
And we will mend thy wages. I like this place and willingly could waste my time in it.
Enter Duke Frederick.
And Oliver.
Not see him since. Sir, that can't be. Find thou thy brother, wheresoe'er he is. Bring him dead or living, or thy lands, and all things which thou dost call thine worth seizure, do we seize into our hands.
I never loved my brother in my life.
You know I value filial loyalty above all else. Leave my sight.
But you just said...
Now I say, begone!
The forest. The forest. Enter Orlando from the other side of the theater with a paper. Hang there my verse in witness of my love, and thou, thrice crowned queen of night, survey with thy chaste eye from thy pale sphere above thy huntress's name that my full life doth sway. Oh, Rosalind, these trees shall be my books, and in their barks my thoughts I'll character, that every eye which in this forest looks shall see thy virtue witnessed everywhere.
Enter Rosalind as Ganymede. Read. From the east to western end, no jewel is like Rosalind. All the pictures fairest lined are but black to Rosalind. Let no fair be kept in mind, but the fair of Rosalind.
Yes. Enter Touchstone, mocking. Let's see, what is this here? Sweetest nut hath sourest rind. Such a nut as Rosalind.
Peace, you dull fool, I found them on a tree.
Truly, their trees yields bad fruit.
Enter Celia, teasing. Know you who hath done this?
Is it a man?
And a chain you once wore around his neck. Change you color.
I prithee who?
Is it possible?
Tell me who it is. I prithee take the cork out of thy mouth that I may drink thy tidings.
So that you may put a man in your belly. It is Orlando.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Orlando! He was furnished like a hunter.
Oh, ominous! He comes to kill my heart!
Enter Orlando and Jaques. Now, who is Jaques? Who is Jaques? Jaques is one of the main characters in William Shakespeare's As You Like It. The melancholy Jaques, as he is known, is one of Duke Senior's noblemen who lives with him in the forest of Arden, or Ardennes. The role has long been a favorite for famous Shakespearean actors. I play him, of course.
Rosalind and Celia hide.
I thank you for your company, but good faith, I had as lief have been myself alone. I pray you, mar no more trees with writing love songs on their barks.
I pray you, mar no more of my verses by reading them ill-favoredly.
Rosalind is your love's name?
Yes, just.
I do not like her name.
There was no thought of pleasing you when she was christened.
You have a nimble wit. Will you sit down with me, and we two will rail against the world and all our misery?
I am weary of you.
By my troth, I was seeking for a fool when I found you.
He is drowned in the brook. Look but in, and you shall see him.
That was a good one.
There I shall see mine own figure. I'll tarry no longer with you. Farewell, good Signor Love.
I am glad of your departure. Adieu, good Monsieur Melancholy.
Jacques Sinva.
What?
I leave, you imbecile.
I will speak to him like a saucy lackey, and under that habit play the knave with him. Do you hear, Forester?
Very well. What would you?
I pray you, what is the clock?
You should ask me what time of day. There's no clock in the forest.
Then there is no true lover in the forest. Else, sighing every minute and groaning every hour would detect the lazy foot of time as well as a clock.
Where dwell you, pretty youth?
With this shepherdess, my sister, here in the skirts of the forest, like fringe upon a petticoat.
Your accent is something finer than you could purchase in so removed a dwelling.
I have been told so of many. But indeed, an old religious uncle of mine taught me to speak, who was in his youth an inland man, one who knew courtship too well, for there he fell in love. I have heard him read many lectures against it, and I thank God I'm not a woman, to be touched with so many giddy offences as he hath generally taxed their whole sex withal.
Okay, can you remember any of the principal evils that he laid to the charge of women?
There were none principal. They were all like one another, as halfpence are.
I prithee, recount some of them.
No, I will not cast away my physic but on those that are sick. There is a man, haunts the forest, that abuses our young plants with carving Rosalind on their barks. If I could meet that fancy monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him.
Yes, I am he that is so love-shaked. I pray you, tell me your remedy.
Love is merely a madness, yet I profess curing it by counsel.
Did you ever cure any so?
Yes, one, and in this manner. He was to imagine me his love, his mistress, and I set him every day to woo me. At which time would I, being but a moonish youth, grieve, be effeminate, changeable, longing and liking, proud, fantastical, apish, shallow, inconstant, full of tears, full of smiles, for every passion something, and for no passion truly anything, as boys and women are for the most part cattle of this color. Wouldst now like him, then loathe him, then entertain him, then forswear him, now weep for him, then spit at him, that I drave my suitor from his mad humor of love to a living humor of madness, which was to forswear the full stream of the world and to live in a nook, merely monastic. And thus I cured him. And in this way will I take upon me to wash your liver as clean as a sound sheep's heart, that there shall not be one spot of love in't.
Oh, I would not be cured, youth.
Oh, I would cure you. If you would but call me Rosalind and come every day to my cote and woo me. Will you go?
With all my heart, good youth.
Nay. You must call me Rosalind. Sortire Rosalind et Orlando.
Show off.
The forest. Enter Touchstone.
And Audrey.
Jaques behind.
I will fetch up your goats, Audrey. Am I the man yet?
What man?
The man. The man with the power.
What power?
Voodoo.
Hoodoo?
The man.
What man?
The man with the power.
What power?
What power? Voodoo.
Hoodoo!
You do.
Oh, no, cut that out!
Doth my simple features content you?
Your features? Lord warrant us. What features?
I, Touchstone, am here with thy goats, and thee, as the most capricious poet, honest Ovid, was among the Goths. Truly, I would the gods had made thee poetical.
I do not know what poetical is. Is it a true thing?
No, truly. For the truest poetry is the most feigning, and lovers are given to poetry.
Would you not have me be honest?
To cast away honesty upon a foul slut would be to put good meat into an unclean dish.
I am not a slut, though I thank the gods I am foul.
Well, praised be the gods for thy foulness. Sluttishness may come thereafter. But be that as it may, I will marry thee. Exeunt. Jacques. Touchstone.
And Audrey!
Enter Rosalind.
And Celia.
Never talk to me, I will weep. Why did he swear he would come this morning and comes not?
Nay, certainly. There's no truth in him.
Not true in love? You have heard him swear downright he was.
Was is not is. Exit Celia.
Enter Silvius.
And Phoebe.
Sweet Phoebe, do not scorn me. If ever you meet in some fresh cheek the power of fancy, then will you know the many wounds that love's keen arrows make.
But till that time, come not near me. And when that time comes, afflict me with thy mocks, pity me not, as till that time I shall not pity thee.
And why, I pray you? What, though you have no beauty, must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why? What means this?
Yeah, how's it going?
Why do you look on me? I think she means to tangle with my eyes too. No, faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. You, foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her? 'Tis such fools as you that makes the world full of ill-favored children. For, I must tell you, friendly in your ear, sell while you can. You are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. Oh, so take her to thee, shepherd, fare you well.
Sweet youth, I pray you, chide a full year together. I had rather hear you chide than this man woo.
He's fallen in love with your foulness, and she'll fall in love with my anger. I'll sauce her with bitter words. Why do you look upon me? Oh, I pray you, do not fall in love with me, for I am falser than vows made in wine. Besides, I like you not.
Oh.
Shepherd, ply her hard. Exeunt Rosalind.
Whoever loved that loved not at first sight.
Oh, sweet Phoebe.
Ha! What sayest thou, Silvius?
I would have you.
Silvius, the time was that I hated thee. But since thou canst talk of love so well, thy company I will endure.
Loose now and then a scattered smile, and that I will live on.
Knowest thou the youth that spoke with me erewhile?
Not very well, but I have met him oft.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. There was a pretty redness in his lips. There would be some women, Silvius, that had marked him, would have gone as near as to fall in love with him, but for my part, I love him not. Nor I hate him not. And yet I have more cause to hate him than to love him, for what did he do to chide at me? I will write him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Silvius?
Phoebe, with all my heart.
Oh, write it straight. Go with me, Silvius.
Exeunt.
Enter Rosalind as Ganymede.
And Celia as Aliena.
And Jaques, I prithee, pretty youth, let me be better acquainted with thee.
They say you are a melancholy fellow.
I am so. I do love it better than laughing. 'Tis good to be sad and say nothing.
Why then 'tis good to be a post.
I have a melancholy of mine own, compounded of many simples, extracted from many objects, and indeed, the sundry's contemplation of my travels, in which my often rumination wraps me in a most humorous sadness.
A traveler. Oh, by my faith, you have great reason to be sad. I fear you have sold your own lands to see other men's. Then to have seen much and to have nothing is to have rich eyes and poor hands.
Yes, I have gained my experience.
And your experience makes you sad.
Well,
I'd rather have a fool to make me merry than experience to make me sad. And to travel for it, too.
Enter Orlando. Good day and happiness, dear Rosalind.
nay, then, God be with you, and you talk in blank verse. Exit Jaques.
Why, how now, Orlando? Where have you been all this while? You, a lover?
Huh.
And you serve me such another trick. Never come in my sight more.
My fair Rosalind, I come within an hour of my promise.
Break an hour's promise in love?
Pardon me, dear Rosalind.
Nay, and you be so tardy, come no more in my sight. I had as lief be wooed of a snail.
Of a snail?
Aye, of a snail. For though he comes slowly, he carries his house on his head. And not I your Rosalind.
It pleases him to call you so, but he hath a Rosalind of a better leer than you.
Come! Woo me! Not woo me, for now I am in a holiday humor and am like enough to consent. What would you say to me and I were your very, very Rosalind?
I would kiss before I spoke.
Oh, nay, you were better to speak first. Am not I your Rosalind?
I take some joy to say you are, because I would be talking of her.
Well then, in her person, I say I will not have you.
Well, then in my own person I die.
Men have died from time to time, and worms have eaten them, but not for love. But come, now I will be a more coming on disposition, and ask me what you will. I will grant it.
Then love me, Rosalind.
Yes, faith will I. Fridays and Saturdays and all.
And wilt thou have me?
Aye, and 20 such.
Oh, wait, what sayest thou?
Are you not good?
I hope so.
Why then, can one desire too much of a good thing? Come, sister. You shall be the priest and marry us. Give me your hand, Orlando.
Stop! This is very, very important. I discussed this at length with James Shapiro, the author of 1599, and well, of course, he agrees with me. What you are about to see, what you are about to witness, is the moment they both realize everything. Continue.
Give me your hand, Orlando, and don't let go. Sister,
Oh,
you play the priest.
Celia hesitates.
What do you say, sister?
Pray thee, marry us.
I cannot say the words.
You must begin, will you,
Oh,
Orlando?
go to. Ahem. Will you, Orlando, have to wife this Rosalind?
I will.
I do take thee, Orlando, to be my husband. Now, tell me how long you would have her after you have possessed her.
Oh, forever and a day.
Say a day, without the ever. No, no, Orlando. Men are April when they woo, December when they wed. Maids are May when we are maids. But the sky changes when we are wives. I will be more jealous of thee than a Barbary cock pigeon over his hen, more newfangled than an ape, more giddy in my desires than a monkey. I will weep for nothing. And I will do that when you are disposed to be merry. I will laugh like a hyena. And that when thou art disposed to sleep.
But will my Rosalind do so?
By my life, she will do as I do.
Oh, but she is wise. For these 2 hours, Rosalind, I must leave thee.
Alas, dear love, I cannot lack thee 2 hours.
I must attend the Duke at dinner. By 2 o'clock, I will be with thee again.
Aye. Go your ways. Go your ways! I knew what you would prove. My friends told me as much, and I thought no less. That flattering tongue of yours won me.
Sweet Rosalind, Orlando exits.
You have
Confused.
simply misused our sex in your love crate.
Oh, cuz, my pretty little cuz. Yet thou didst know how many fathom deep I am in love. Oh, I tell thee, Aliena, I cannot be out of the sight of Orlando. Oh, I'll go find a shadow and sigh till he come.
And I'll sleep. But before Rosalind can depart, and before Celia can find a cozy rock to sleep on, the scene is interrupted by the return of Orlando. Or is it?
Good morrow, fair one. Pray you, if you know where in the purlieus of this forest there lives a sheepcote fenced about with olive trees.
West of this place, down near the neighbor bottom, but for this time the house doth keep itself. There's none within.
If that an eye may profit by a tongue, then I should know you by description. Orlando doth commend me to you now, and to you sends this bloody napkin.
What must we understand by this?
Some of my shame. If you will know of me what man I am, and how, and why, and where this handkerchief was stained.
I pray you tell it.
Well, when last the young Orlando parted from you, he left a promise to return within an hour. But pacing through the forest, mark what object did present itself. A man, a wretched man, lay sleeping on his back, and a lioness lay couching, head on ground, with cat-like watch. When that sleeping man should stir... Now this scene Orlando did approach the man and found it was his brother, his elder brother.
To Orlando. Did he leave him there, food to the sucked and hungry lioness?
Now nature, stronger than his just occasion, made him give battle to the lioness, who quickly fell before him.
Are you his brother?
Yes,
Was you he rescued?
indeed it was.
Was it you that did so oft contrive to kill him?
'Twas I, but 'twas not I. I do not shame to tell you what I was, since my conversion so sweetly tastes being the thing I am.
But to the bloody napkin.
Well, in brief, I recovered him and bound up his wound, and he sent me hither, stranger as I am, to tell this story, that you might excuse his broken promise, and to give this napkin, dyed in his blood unto the shepherd youth that he doth in sport call his Rosalind.
Ganymede swoons.
Oh,
Oliver revives them.
Oh, would I were at home.
Be of good cheer. You, a man, you lack a man's heart.
I do so, I confess it. A body would think this was well counterfeited.
This was not counterfeit. There is too great testimony in your complexion that it was a passion of earnest.
Counterfeit, I assure you.
Well then, take a good heart and counterfeit to be a man.
So I do. But faith, I should have been a woman by right.
come, you look paler and paler. Draw homewards. Good sir, go with us.
And then I must bear answer back how you excuse my brother, Rosalind.
But I pray you, commend my counterfeiting to him. Ganymede.
Celia.
And Oliver exit.
Ah, we shall find time, Audrey. Patience, gentle Audrey. We shall find time.
But Audrey continues her pursuit.
Both exit. Ah! Ah!
Enter Orlando and Oliver. Is it possible that on so little acquaintance that but seeing you should love her, and loving woo, and wooing she should grant? Will neither call the giddiness of it in question my sudden wooing, nor her sudden consenting. I love alien, and it shall be to your good. For my father's house and all the revenue that was Sir Roland's shall I estate upon you. And here, live and die a shepherd. Will you have my consent? Let your wedding be tomorrow. Thither will I invite the Duke and all contented fathers. Go you and prepare Aliena.
Enter Rosalind as Ganymede. Your brother and my sister no sooner met but they looked, no sooner looked but they loved, no sooner loved but they sighed, no sooner sighed but they asked one another the reason, no sooner knew the reason but they sought the remedy. And in these degrees have they built a pair of stairs to marriage. They are in the very wrath of love, and they will together. Clubs cannot part them.
Yes, they shall be married tomorrow. But oh, how bitter a thing it is to look into happiness through another man's eyes.
Why then, tomorrow I cannot serve your turn for Rosalind?
No, I can live no longer by thinking.
Believe then, If you please, that I can do strange things. I have, since I was 3-year-old, conversed with a magician. If you do love Rosalind so near the heart as your gesture cries it out, tomorrow when your brother marries Aliena, shall you marry her?
Enter Silvius.
And Phoebe. Youth, you have done me much ungentleness.
You are there followed by a faithful shepherd.
Oh,
Look upon him. Love him. He worships you.
good shepherd, tell this youth what 'tis to love.
It is to be all made of sighs and tears, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of faith and service, and so am I for Phoebe.
And I for Ganymede.
And I for Rosalind.
And I for no woman.
It is to be all made of fantasy, all made of passion, and all made of wishes, all adoration, duty, and observance, and so am I for Phoebe.
And so am I for Ganymede.
And so am I for Rosalind.
And so am I for no woman.
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame you me to love you?
If this be so, why blame me to love you?
Whoa. Who do you speak to? Why blame you me to love you?
Well, to her that is not here, nor doth not hear.
Oh, pray you no more of this. 'Tis like the howling of Irish wolves against the moon. Silvius, I will help you if I can. Phoebe, I would love you if I could. Tomorrow, meet here all together. Phoebe, I will marry you if ever I marry woman. And I'll be married tomorrow. Orlando, I will satisfy you if ever I satisfied man, and you shall be married tomorrow. Silvius, I will content you if what pleases you contents you, and you shall be married tomorrow. Orlando, as you love Rosalind, meet. Silvius, as you love Phoebe, meet. And as I love no woman, I'll meet. So, fare you well. I have left you commands. Oh, exunt all.
Enter Duke Senior.
Jaques.
Orlando.
Dost thou believe, Orlando, that the boy can do all that he hath promised?
Enter Touchstone.
And Audrey.
There is, sure, another flood toward, and these couples are coming to the ark. Here comes a pair of very strange beasts, which in all tongues are called fools.
Salutation and greeting to you all.
Oh, good my lord, bid him welcome. This is the motley-minded gentleman that I have so often met in the forest. He hath been a courtier, he swears.
If any man doubt that, let him put me to my purgation.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Rosalind has entered, finally as Rosalind. Father, to you I give myself, for I am yours.
If there be truth in sight, you are my daughter.
Orlando, to you I give myself, for I am yours.
If there be truth in sight, you are my Rosalind.
Hey.
And though their wedding could not be celebrated in this wild forest with any of the parade of or splendor usual on such occasions, yet a happier wedding day has never passed.
Okay. All right, excuse me. All right, I think it's my turn.
Go ahead, girl, talk.
All right. I know it is
Come on, girl,
not
give it
the
up. Preach.
fashion to see the lady the epilogue, but there's no more unhandsome than to see the lord the prologue. If it be true that good wine needs no bush, 'tis true that a good play needs no epilogue. Yet, to good wine they do use good bushes, and good plays are proved the better by the help of good epilogues. What a case am I in? It was written that I beg here, but to beg will not become me. My way is to conjure you. And I'll begin with the women.
Oh,
I charge you, O women, for the love you bear to men, to like as much of this play as please you. And I charge you, O men, for the love you bear to women,
What's up?
as I perceive by your simpering, none of you hates them,
Hey.
that between you and the women, the play may please. If I were a woman, I would kiss as many of you as had beards that pleased me, complexions that liked me, and breaths that I defied not. And
Okay.
I am sure as many as have good beards or good faces or sweet breaths will, for my kind offer, bid me farewell. For even when we are forced to face life's complications, there is always a happy distraction we can choose to run into the woods to. For ignorance, as they say, is truly bliss.
woo!
Preach, girl, preach. Where is it? There it is. There it is. Huh.
I'm Katie Wieland, and I played Rosalind.
I'm Terry Greiss. I played Duke Fred, Duke Senior, Corin, and Silvius.
I'm Michael David Gordon. I play Touchstone and Charles the Wrestler. Ah!
I'm Sam, and I did the music.
Hi, I'm Alex Spieth, and I played Celia and Phoebe and Audrey.
Hi, I'm Joey Collins, and I play Jaques, the historian, and Lebeau.
Hi, I'm Sam Metzger, and I played Orlando and Oliver.
And now we're so happy that you all came to As You Like It, presented by Irondale Ensemble. We're going to go right into the discussion, and we welcome your questions and comments. So get on out here, Jim. Let's talk to the people. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
You don't have to be hard to see to have an attitude. Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
You know what? Oh, okay.
I miss playing with you, MD.
Yes, I've unmuted myself and put the video back on.
I was about to go into kiss.
So, I asked Katie before we started, how had the play, how did it hit you? How is it different this time around? What new thoughts came in? There was definitely some new bits that we didn't plan them. They just sort of emerged over the 2 days or so that we were playing around with going back and looking at this reading. So, what do you got to say? What's on your minds right now? And please, anything that comes in, from out in the Ethernet, then we'll have somebody down there who can follow what it says on the chat, and we'll bring that right in. Okay, take it away.
So the weird thing is, how do I say this politely? I'm not a big fan of this play, and I thought, why are we going to do this right now? I mean, even more so than, say, Julius Caesar or Hamlet or Henry V. I was like, this is just so light, and this one is marrying that one, and this one doesn't know who that one is. But strangely enough, there have to be, I don't know, those moments where you can kick back and rest for a second so that you can replenish, so that you can go back into the struggle, and I'm just being subjective. That's how I'm feeling about it. tonight as we sit here.
I think that's so true, Michael David. I think that's, so key to why we do this. I remember I went years and years ago to a theater festival, and there was a Chilean company. And of course, Chile was in great turmoil. And they were doing this simple little love story of a play. And the audience was so angry. And during the talk back, they said, how can you, when your country is burning, how can you do a love story? And the director said, sometimes the most political thing you can do is a love story at a time of crisis. And I felt tonight that just the lightness of this, the joy of it, that's what we need a little bit. And we can't just labor all the time.
Absolutely. And I think in terms of just little moments, Jim was talking to Katie, who plays Rosalind, about this before, but I feel like everyone knows it so well that you kind of trust other people's choices. So when Katie was as Ganymede, I was like, oh, I should do that. So I stole your choice. But it's you start to get simpatico with what people will bring, and what you think is sort of a good idea for the ensemble, I think.
Everybody, I don't know if you're following, but there's stuff coming in on the chat already.
Yes.
If somebody could just, ask, read some of those out loud for people
Sure.
at home. And,
one of my young company kids asked, why are you pronouncing Jacques like that, as opposed to, I'm assuming, Violet, you mean Jacques.
That's how it scans. I think that's why, right?
If I can just say that this is part of what I say is English contrariness. Why do they say receipt instead of recipe?
And they say Don Quixote instead of Don Quixote.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
they do.
No, seriously?
Swear to God. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I will place a call right now to London.
So, Michael David, I sort of tried to cue you up there to be able to answer your student about how it scans. If you want to sort of complete that, I toss it to you.
Well, no, that's really the answer. Is that there's a scansion thing that has to happen in terms of the I am Violet that we're going to talk about actually next year in terms of Shakespeare. So that's how it goes down. I mean, I've seen productions where it's been pronounced the other way, and it's strangely enough, it sounds stranger in a way when it's pronounced the other way, especially if the I am and the scansion. So
I think also just the comedic factor must play a little bit into it. I mean, Jacques is a pretty wonderfully over the top name.
Jacques is definitely funnier than Jacques. It just is.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's
Plus, also, if the character is Jacques, doesn't that mean it sort of points to being French in a way that I'm not even sure I can pronounce it the other way, that Jacques is not? We're all learning things. We're all learning things today.
There's also technically two in the play. We cut out one, but sometimes people differentiate them with different pronunciations. But we didn't have to worry about that.
Violet, I'm sure you will battle me this tomorrow during young company rehearsal, so that's fine. I'm ready for you.
Any other questions from out there in YouTube land? Some lovely comments. Thank you all for your kindness.
The weird thing, Terry, what you were just saying about that play, the Chilean play, I kind of felt the way the audience felt literally about 10 minutes before we started. And then it kicked in, and, it's been such an incredible 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And the last couple of days for me personally, it's just been very, labor intensive, if you will, emotionally as well. So yeah, revolution takes a lot of different forms.
Yeah, but I mean, speaking of, revolution, this, I think, play does speak to that. I mean, Duke Sr. leaves and starts a new society because he is forced to live in a different way, which we are all forced to do right now. And it does give way to different kinds of thinking because you cannot work. I mean, I'm speaking for myself, you know, I can't be at work right now. So it gives you space, or it, you know, it has the potential to give great imagination. It has the potential to, which it takes to, you know, to create new societal norms and to shake things up. That takes imagination. That takes, you know, this forced life change, which we are in right now. So, you know, I do think that the heartbeat of this, everything that makes this play possible in plot is, you know, kind of what's happening right now, which is really cool.
You know, I just, Katie, I think that's really interesting you brought that up, because something that has occurred to me in the sort of bilinear whatever divides that are going on, it's like everybody's supposed to take a side right now, and one's morally right and morally wrong and everything. And I'm kind of going, I know, I think I just want to do something sometimes that's just more interesting to me than all this other stuff. And I think that in many ways is what the Duke Senior is saying. Like, I don't want to get involved in all this squabbles at the palace for one day. I'm going to go out and just do something that's interesting.
Well, I'm thinking of Duke Senior, you know, trying to call people to sit around the table and, you know, reimagine law enforcement. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, he's gone off into the forest and created this whole world for himself, and I would be really interested to see, and will be interested to see how that works as we move forward.
Yeah, and I love how he tolerates so many different people out there. You know, Orlando, come on in. You know, don't be afraid of us. And Jaques, you know, yeah, come on. I know you're making me crazy sometimes, but just do that poem again. I love how you do that poem. And if I let you know, anyway.
We had a comment come in. Why did we include the historian? Jim.
Oh, I was anybody else wanted to take a crack at that.
Oh.
I put it in. It was actually one of the things that occurred to me was at the depths of World War II, which was one of our last major times when we all needed to cheer ourselves up a bit, especially early on. Three of the most popular movies were three of the road pictures, which got zanier and zanier as they went along. And one of my favorite things in Road to Utopia is they have a character very much like the historian, who's played by Robert Benchley. And he pops in from time to time just saying that the producers at Paramount, when they saw the rough cut of this, thought maybe some of it wouldn't make sense without somebody explaining. So I thought, okay, there's a lot of stuff we're trying to explain in a very short amount of time. So let's bring in an expert. Let's bring in a historian who can tell us where all this came from and where it goes to. And hopefully I'm entertained by him. That's the real reason I put him in. I just think it's a very entertaining character, and I was dying to see Joey do it.
Yeah, I thought it worked very well. I thought it was really funny. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I thought you got the level of pretension right, Joey. That was it was very satisfyingly comedic.
I was playing Jim. It's a joke.
And you did it very well.
Okay. And I was just going to say, yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what Terry told me to do. He said, just play Jim.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to put in? Nothing further in the chat, says someone. So I know some people need to run off to some places tonight, and please don't get arrested while you're doing so. But I want to find out what's happening in Tulsa myself. I'm sure there's some wild stuff going on there. So everybody remember, next week we are doing our version of Hamlet, and following this whole arc of 1599, which was sort of it's a dark time in England and a dark time here. We go from the optimism of Henry V to the cynicism of Julius Caesar to the, hey, let's take a break, to As You Like It, we're all restored, we're going back into the court, and oh my God, what's going to happen in Hamlet? So look forward to seeing you next Thursday night, right?
So long, folks.
All right.
And
Harry, you're muted if you wanted to say something.
Who was muted?
Remind people
Terry.
It's Thursday night next week instead of Friday night. We're going back to Thursdays.
Okay.
Okay.
I look forward to seeing you guys on rehearsal.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.